Hello there, and welcome to the media edition of Governance Today. I am Ojon Bello. We'll do it this way. We call it Governance Today, but then you cannot separate governance from democracy because you have to be democratic before you're even given the opportunity to lead, which has to do with governance. Well, on this edition of the program, which will be on daily basis, Monday to Friday, we shall be discussing the way people are being governed. And in doing that, we shall be talking about leaders, strategic leaders in and outside Nigeria. On this maiden edition of the program, we are discussing the number one citizen, Muhammadu Buhari, who is currently the President, Federal Republic of Nigeria. And to do justice to that is a political analyst who is also a security consultant and youth ambassador Africa, Jesse Umar Haya. Jesse, you're welcome to the program.
Thank you, Mr. Oden.
So before we go on, I know my viewers, yes, they usually understand political analyst, security consultant. What is this youth ambassador all about?
Okay,
Africa.
okay. The thing about youth affairs, not quite activism, because a lot of people don't understand the difference between being an activist and then being an ambassador. The simple life of an ambassador is exemplary,
Okay.
all right? And then it's where a group of youths come around and then decide on who should represent them, on the African space. Somebody worthy of note, someone that had lived the life of what is seen to be exemplifying for other youths to emulate. Someone that has no baggages, someone that, that had lived for a course.
All right. Okay. We have no choice then. In the course of the program, being youth ambassador for Africa, we have to discuss the not too young to run. We will have to discuss that as a youth ambassador Africa. Now, I did say that our guest, we are discussing rather, Muhammadu Buhari, GCFR. The gentleman was born 17th day of December 1942. Of course, he's a Nigerian politician, currently serving as the president of Nigeria. In office since 2015, he is a retired major general in the Nigerian army and previously served as the nation's head of state from 31st December 1983 to 27th August 1985 after taking power in a military coup d'etat. The term Buharism is ascribed to the Buhari military government. He unsuccessfully ran for the office of President of Nigeria in the 2003, 2007, and 2011 general elections. In December 2014, he emerged as the presidential candidate of the All Progressives Congress for the March 2015 general election. And in the run-up to the 2015 presidential elections, the campaign team of incumbent President Goodluck Jonathan at that time asked for the disqualification of General Buhari from the election, claiming that he is in breach of the Constitution. And according to the fundamental document, in order to qualify for election to the office of the president, an individual must be educated up to at least school certificate level or its equivalent. Buhari has failed to submit any such evidence, claiming that he lost the original copies of his diplomas when his house was raided following his overthrow from power in 1985. Buhari ran in the 2015 presidential election as a candidate of the All Progressives Congress Party. His platform was built around the image as a staunch anti-corruption fighter and his incorruptible and honest reputation. However, Buhari stated in an interview that he will not probe past corrupt leaders and that he will give officials who stole in the past amnesty insofar as they repent. And in January 2015, the insurgent group, the Movement for the Emancipation of the Niger Delta Men, endorsed Buhari in the presidential race, saying he is the best candidate to lead the country. Muhammadu Buhari's campaign was briefly advised by former Obama campaign manager David Astroth and his AKPD consultancy. And in February 2015, former Nigerian President Olusegun Obasanjo quit the ruling PDP party and threw his support behind the Buhari Osinbajo ticket on 31st March. Incumbent President Goodluck Jonathan called Buhari to offer his concession and congratulations for his election as President Buhari was sworn in on 29th May 2015 in a ceremony attended by at least 23 heads of state and government. Well, in this prologue, we try to set the tone. I just said it there that there was a concession from former President Goodluck Jonathan. Let us start this way. No saying the fact that you appreciate the current president, Muhammadu Buhari.
Absolutely.
Do you see Buhari congratulating Atiku in case Atiku becomes the president, just like Goodluck Jonathan did? Let's just start from there.
Yeah, I don't have any doubt in my mind. Muhammadu Buhari as an individual, known to all, had always been an outstanding individual in terms of actions and character. Now, to best describe the man Muhammadu Buhari in his characteristics as a person, he does not have lust for materialism. He does not have lust for power. And his character as an individual, you remember you quoted the coup that ousted him from power. Of course, the coup leaked. He was aware there was going to be a coup. In the absence of his deputy at the time, was Chief of General Staff, was it? Diabon.
It's a
I don't know
man.
the exact nomenclature. Let me try to recollect the exact
Chief of
nomenclature.
Staff,
Chief of
Supreme
Staff,
Headquarters.
Supreme Headquarters, yeah. The coup was able to succeed simply because the Chief of Staff's Supreme Headquarters was not in the country. So I don't see a precedent in the person of the current president that will not concede defeat.
All right, if you are watching, whether online or through free to air, through a very nice concert, we want to announce to you that we are discussing the person of the current president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Muhammadu Buhari. What does he want? Why does he want to be Nigerian president for a second term? Are there some things he has not finished? Are there things he has to come and conclude? There are so many other Nigerians who also qualify to be there. That is why we have in the studio somebody who is very, very fond of Mr. President, and that's Umar. As I did say, he is a political analyst. It is on record that your man has not been very, very sound in health. Why can't he spare Nigerians and quit and let somebody who is more able-bodied take over?
That's a very interesting question. And in trying to answer that question, I need you to understand that to run for office, nobody nominates himself for office. People nominate you to run for office. There were lots of people that jostled for that position in 2015. Even when he started running for office as far back as 2003, there were other people that were interested in the job. He ended up emerging as the candidate simply because he only offered himself for office. And then people rallied around and deemed him fit to be the sole candidate of any political platform, from AMPP to CPC to ACN, to APC, and now another APC ticket. Now, interestingly so, he ran against, I wouldn't be able to give names, so perhaps...
The primaries?
Yeah, the primaries.
Even Atiku.
Even Atiku, he ran against it. Now, it meant that at every juncture, the Nigerians that were in that fold of that political association believed in the candidature of General Muhammad Buhari, as he was then called, you know, and he had always emerged as a candidate, even after popular demand, because of course a lot of people believe that the elections were not fairly conducted. He had always won these elections at every instance he had run for them. Not until 2015 that the election became keenly contested and is globally acclaimed to be a very fair election. So I think if Nigerians and interest groups and progressives think that that's the man for the job, that's the man to beat, it's not all about asking why he wants the job. If we want him to continue in office, why not?
All right. Some people, a school of thought believes that if care is not taken, going by what happened in Ekiti and Osun governorship elections, which even some sections of the international community even said that Osun was a coup and not an election. But if a top notcher of APC is there as the president, and with all the mad polls of Osun, the gentleman has kept quiet, believing that he endorsed the Osun election. Are we not expecting a repeat of Osun election during the presidential elections?
Well, Mr. Bello, elections did not just start in Osun and Ekiti. There were pockets of
I think you need
elections.
to
There
come
were
up with
pockets of
details.
elections held here and there. There were elections held in Anambra,
Yeah, Edo.
Edo. There were by-elections in numerous places across the country. I think, the whole. Of course, nobody runs in for a political office and loses elections and would want to admit that he had actually fairly won lost
Fairly
that
lost.
that election. And then when we say that a cross section or a part of the international community had come up with reports that the elections were perhaps being run like a coup or something, I have not yet seen any of such results, any of such statements actually that had given a pointer to the fact that a cross section of the international community have a problem, with the outcome of particularly the Osun election that you mentioned. But then I think we should now refer back to subsequent elections, those before and after that of Osun. You know, I look at that of Ekiti. Of course, Ekiti elections, you don't need to be a card carrying member of any political party to understand what was going to befall the Ayo Faroshe led administration at the time that election happened. You know, because he had clearly fallen out with all stakeholders of his own political party. You can't have somebody as high as Ayo Adiye, who
Yeah.
has risen to become the national secretary, publicity secretary
Publicity secretary
of that
and a
political
former
party,
minister.
and a former minister who had left his own party at the brinks of an election as important as that of a state governor. You have the likes of Biodo
Olujimi.
Olujibi, who had reservations, even though she didn't have to leave the party, but she was already a member of the party, and in fact, the most senior party person from that zone. From that zone, the entire southwest. So the Osho elections, of course, you don't even need to be a political pundit, so to say, to understand that, look, you need to feel the pulse of the nation. You need to understand the tune, the feelings of the people, to determine where the pendulum swings. So I think these issues cannot be.
All right, let's leave the wider perspective of the political party and let's zero in again on the topic of today, and that topic is Nigerian President Muhammadu Buhari. If you want to pick his high point Are you going to give us, if we want to talk about his pass mark, where he has excelled, where he has performed creditably well, which area will you point at? Security, economy, health, agric, water supply?
Well, you need to broaden what governance is all about in the first instance, so that you will be able to situate exactly what you are looking for in terms of achievement of any administration. Now, we have had lots of administrations in the past. Nigeria is close to 60 years old in age as a country. We have had successive governments in the past. We have had governments that came via the barrels of the gun. We had governments that came via the ballot boxes. We had a successive democratic administration. Well, politicians call them experiment. 16 years was not enough for us to have learned anything. But back to back, we've had governments that had not been able to enshrine one thing, achieve one thing in this country. One thing particularly, no government has taken one credit that we have been able to improve infrastructural development. We've achieved anything in education. We have achieved virtually, whether it's infrastructure, whether it's rail transport, or whatever. You know. So now you talk about an administration that is barely 3.5 years old. Oh, okay, let's say 4 years old, and then you want to hold on to the administration on virtually everything that hovers around success in governance. Is that what we should be having a conversation today as a nation? Or are we supposed to attribute it to, at the time, at the height that this government came into power? It is interesting to note that we had infrastructural decay. Of course, it spans over 40 years. We have issue of insecurity. You know, now this issue of insecurity is so bad that, by the time you break it down, you micro break it down to individuals. We shouldn't even be having a conversation as a nation, because virtually every citizen of this country had to provide for himself one aboki to secure his gate.
Buhari promised to come and change it.
Good.
So we may not even go into that, because he knew
I am going there.
the decay.
I am going there.
Okay.
I am going there. And interestingly so, I'm having to converse with you today because I believe in this country.
Yeah.
I believe in the administration of Muhammadu Buhari. All right? Muhammadu Buhari is not really, he knows it all. All right? There's never been one person that knows it all. But particularly, you now have to put into cognizance the kind of system we run in this country. If you like, go and bring a Barack Obama to come and be the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, he will not run a successful administration because of this kind of bottlenecks we have. Our systems are broken. Our institutions cannot function properly. How can we dare have a conversation when everybody thinks I am from the north, I am from the south, I'm rather this or that? So sometimes, I let me even not even digress. Let me even focus on the issues, particularly when it has to do with the question you asked me on the issue of the promises.
Yes, his
the
high
mantra,
points.
his high points, the mantra he wrote on to power. The mantra he wrote, there were three cardinal fundamental things he brought to the fore. He said he was going to fix infrastructure. He said he was going to fight corruption. He said he was going to build on the economy. Okay? Now, if you have a broken down economy, and you have run a broken down economy, and for economists will tell you that you don't fix an economy without having to fix those things that had broken down the economy in the first place. All right? You need to find why the economy is. What is the economy we're talking about? It's you and I. That is the economy. It's not just all about government revenue. Now, our focus and our emphasis had always been on what accrues to government, not what we, as part of government, can contribute to bolster that thing that will bring about economic prosperity.
Are you giving it to him in the area of economy?
Oh, yes, I think so.
Has he an economic team?
Yes, headed by the vice president.
All right, the program is Governance Today, and we are discussing the Nigerian president, Muhammadu Buhari. And joining me to do justice to this very important topic is Umar Haya. Very soon we will go on a break from the studio, and we bring you, we want to remind you, bring to your notice again, recapitulate the swearing-in ceremony of President Muhammadu Buhari when he became the president, when former President Goodluck Jonathan handed over to him. We will do that in about 5, 6, 7 minutes. Then we come back to the studio and continue with our question and answer session. Very soon, maybe thereafter, we will open our telephone lines and you can be jotting down your questions. Umar is here to do justice to your questions, whatever you want to ask him about the administration of Muhammadu Buhari. We have tried our best to see to it that we don't need to be running after presidential candidates, but let people talk about them. And that is why we are giving you out there the opportunity too to talk about President Buhari. Maybe you want to agree with Umar or you want to disagree. You are free. You are a Nigerian. We'll be back after showing you the swearing in of President Muhammadu Buhari in recapitulation.
As the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, His Excellency.
Round of applause, please. Standing ovation for
Des
President
applaudissements, s'il vous plaît. C'est
Please.
l'arrivée du président élu.
It's a new dawn.
C'est un nouveau chapitre dans l'histoire de notre nation.
I, Muhammad Buhari, do solemnly swear that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and that I will preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. So help me God. I, Muhammad Buhari, do solemnly swear that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to the Federal Republic of Nigeria, that as President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, I will discharge my duties to the best of my ability, faithfully and in accordance with the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria and the law, and always in the interest of the sovereignty, integrity, solidarity, well-being, and prosperity of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, that I will strive to preserve the fundamental objectives and directive principles of state policy contained in the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and I will not allow my personal interests to influence my official conduct or my official decisions, that I will, to the best of my ability, preserve, protect, defend the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, that I will abide by the code of conduct contained in the 5th schedule of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, that in all circumstances I will do right to all manner of people according to law, without fear or favor, affection or ill will, that I will not directly or indirectly communicate or reveal to any person, any matter, which shall be brought under my consideration or shall become known to me as President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, except as may be required for the discharge of my duties as President, and that I will devote myself to the service and well-being of the people of Nigeria. So help me God.
President, Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, His Excellency Muhammadu Buhari, Grand Commander of the Order of the Federal Republic.
Monsieur le Président, commandant en chef des forces armées, Muhammadu Buhari, premier président du Nigeria.
A new dawn. World-acclaimed ambassadors of peace.
Say Baba, say Buhari. 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 Alaikia, 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 Say Baba, say Buhari.
Thank you, Kwan Wan. After that very significant
All right, we just tried there to recapitulate the swearing in of President Muhammadu Buhari. That was a handing over ceremony from Goodluck Jonathan to Buhari. Right now, the program is Governance Today, which will be coming your way at this time, Monday to Friday, and my guest is Jesse Umar Haya. We are looking at the profile, the personality of current Nigerian President Muhammadu Buhari. You are free, so start calling in. The numbers will be displayed, and as a Nigerian or a lover of Nigeria, you are free to call in, and let's get your contributions. Are you in agreement with Umar, who seems to be saying that Nigeria has never been this lucky, or you want to disagree with him? Now, one of the high points of Buhari that you were trying to tell us is his anti-corruption crusade. In fairness, is the crusade not one-sided? Because as it is now, it is believed in many quarters, not just some quarters, that once you are proven corrupt and you move to APC, immediately you become a bishop. You become very, very holy. How do you react to that?
Well, I want to say that sometimes you need to understand the inner workings or the limits to the executive. Now, the executive can only investigate, and then prosecute perhaps, but then the judiciary is only legally saddled by the law to make a pronouncement whether you are actually guilty or not. Now, in my understanding of the war against corruption, it falls in two spectrums.
Okay, we'll continue because we are talking about defending him over there. All right. Hello? 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 All right. We even if the phone rings now, we'll make sure you land then before we.
Okay. Now, what I was trying to, the point I was trying to like, bring up, now you cannot allege that, we're talking about two different administrations, right? Now, you must be part of a government to have dipped your hands.
Let me go against my promise. Hello? Hello, can you hear us?
Yeah, good evening.
Good evening, my brother. How are you today?
I'm fine, son.
Yeah,
How is work?
we bless God. Where are you calling us from and what's the name?
I'm calling from Kaduna, Zaria. My name is Benedict.
All right.
Aman.
Benedict, go ahead. You are on to Clearview Studio. So what's your contribution?
Yeah, I heard what the guy just said there.
Yeah.
That we are being lucky. On what aspect? Are we lucky that our economy is appreciating or depreciating? Or which area are we being lucky? Are we being lucky that many things have gone wrong in this government, which I expected them to apologize, say the truth and apologize. And we the Nigerians will understand nobody is God, nobody is perfect. But the truth is that these people keep on believing that we Nigerians are fools by telling us that what is white is black. In this era, in this 21st century, it cannot be done anywhere. And the issue of them calling themselves holding APC, who is originally APC? All of them are members of PDP. Because they now see that, okay, this is the only way out to run into APC and become holy. Imagine somebody like Rotimi Amechi claiming to be holy. These are the people who have, smuggled Nigerian money to their own private pocket.
All right, thank you very much.
I don't see any good coming from this man.
Okay.
Just
Benedict,
tell me that we're being lucky.
Umar will give a response to what you have said. Thank you very much for tuning to Clearview TV. Thank you. Yeah, the man said he is not in agreement with what you are saying, that the economy is not appreciating but depreciating. So he's still in the area of then he talked about the anti-corruption law.
I wouldn't, sorry, I need to apologize. I came here under the weather. I'm having a little flu. Now, the man Benedict, I wouldn't know where he was in 2014, when he's particularly emphasizing on the issue of the economy. Because I remember the then Minister of Finance, Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, told us that they were borrowing monies to pay salaries. So it meant that the economy was really in a bad shape. And the last I checked, when this administration came into being, I never heard of such, that monies were being borrowed to pay salaries. But in any case, people are entitled to opinions, and people are entitled to what they choose to believe. But, I cannot take out the fact that a lot of us in Nigeria perhaps, go about commenting on issues we really do not have foreknowledge over. We perhaps just want to just be seen to be contributing over issues of national discourses simply because we want to follow where our sentiments lie. Because the truth of the matter is that you cannot, and nobody with his right senses will tell you that Nigeria.
All right.
Hello?
Hello?
Hello, good evening.
Yeah, good evening. This is Clearview TV. Where are you calling us from and what's the name?
Oh, I'm calling from Taraba State. Emenike is my name.
What's the name?
Emenike.
MNK?
Yes, my name from Taraba State.
Yeah, what is the political situation like in Taraba State? How is Mama Taraba? How is our governor Ishaku?
The atmosphere is okay. It's okay. There's no problem so far.
Good. That's a good news.
What I'm saying is that about what you're saying, what I know and what I want to say is that the greatest mistake Nigerians have ever made was to vote Buhari as president of Nigeria. That's the greatest mistake we have ever made. Because nothing is moving. Masses are suffering. I still know that by this time, before he was voted into power, the bushel of rice here in this part of the country was 1,300 naira. But now it's 2,500 to 3,000 naira. So everybody's not happy here. Of course, what's going on in Nigeria? And the people who are into this, all of them are righteous. Despite the fact that all of them has looted our phone from PDP, Buhari and so on, they have covered them. They are not doing anything. They are trying those of the PDP and so on. Anyway, thank you very much.
Thank you. Hello? Hello? Oh, all right. We had somebody calling from there. Ordinarily, I should have even allowed him to have a chat with you.
Yeah, sure.
We should have.
Now, I wouldn't know, I wouldn't remember his name anyway.
Eminike from Taraba.
Taraba. Emenike in Taraba, okay? Now, you know, there's something over time, I've been able to understand. You want to take it?
Yes, I'll take it, but Eminike said we have been unfortunate to have Buhari, so don't let us forget that one. Hello? Hello? Calm down, calm down. Hello? Yeah? What's the name and where you calling from?
Hello?
Hello, we can hear you perfectly well here. What's the name?
Okay, I'm Chidi calling from Port Harcourt.
From Port Harcourt. What's the name?
I'm Mr. Chidi calling from Port
All
Harcourt.
right. Chidi, thank you very much for joining us.
Are you hearing me now?
Yes, please go ahead.
Hello?
Please go ahead, Chidi. Hello, Chidi, please go ahead. All right, we can get... Hello? Hello?
Hello?
Chidi, please just go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. Hello? Good evening. Good evening.
Good evening.
I'm Elijah calling from Benue State.
All right, Elijah, please go ahead.
Actually, I don't really know how some Nigerians reason. The problem... Hello?
Please go on.
I don't know the problem of some Nigerians. Some people will just call and begin to condemn administration. And they don't know, I don't know whether they understand what administration is all about. Hello?
Yes, please, we are listening to you. I don't want to cut you. I don't want to interrupt.
Okay, what the man has, the President Buhari has tried to do in these few years has been marvelous to me. He has tried to bring Nigeria out of recession. What was the situation of our foreign reserve before he came on? And the employment in Nigeria, these programs, power, social investment, and all that, these things are helping infrastructure-wise. If you are realistic, you will understand that this man has tried a lot. But people will just keep on condemning and condemning and condemning. What was the situation of Nigeria in the time past? And what are we, passing through now? At least this government is listening to the people. People are at least, now people, if you have a problem, they listen to you, ASU and all these other people. They are listening to them. They will come to a conclusion now. Something tangible will be done. Those people that were, not paid their pensions and gratuities, they are looking into their issues now. The economy is at least coming out gradually now. The people will just be condemning. All I would like the people in Nigeria to think about is, think about tomorrow and not just today. There's something that Hausa call Kusa de Baki. That shouldn't be our own idea in Nigeria. We should think about tomorrow and not just today. And for me, even the insecurity situation, God will help us to come out of it. And the people that are doing these things to frustrate this administration, they know themselves. But as Buhari said, God is going to punish everybody accordingly. Thank you.
Thank you very much. With your prayer, you are indeed an Elijah. So that was Elijah from Benue, and that's your friend.
Well, if you call him my friend,
Hello? Yeah, good evening. Where are you calling from?
My name King is calling from Makodi.
All right. Okay, from Makodi, please go ahead.
It is my own opinion about the discussion is this. Now, Mr. Presenter, the other person sitting down with you.
Yes.
The world and Nigeria is lucky to have a president like Buhari steering the administration of this country means you are a fool and an enemy of this country.
No.
This man is taking the country down.
As much as possible, not under any circumstance are we going to take any abusive language. No matter how highly placed you might be, it is hate speech. Hello? 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 All right.
Hello?
Hello?
Yeah, I'm on to Clear TV.
Yes, this Clearview TV. What's the name and where are you calling from?
My name is Joel. I'm calling from Taraba.
Joel Taraba. Please go ahead, Joel. Joel, please go ahead.
Hello?
Go ahead. We are listening to you.
Okay. I've made a contribution on the...
Please go ahead. Make your contribution. Make your contribution.
Is it not live, Seneca?
It is live. Mr. Joel, we are listening to you.
It's okay. I just want to contribute that it is important that as a nation, we are looking at things, we should look at them objectively. Everybody in Nigeria is aware of what is going on, and everybody in Nigeria can testify to it that Nigeria has never been this bad. There has never been hunger in this country. Hello?
Yes, go on. We're listening. We're hearing you. We're hearing you.
My contribution is that as a nation, when we are talking on national issue, when we are talking on national issue,
Yes.
we should always be straightforward, we should always be sincere,
Yeah.
we should always be objective.
All right. Would that be all?
Hello?
Would that be all? All right. Thank you very much. Hello? Hello?
Hello, good evening.
Good evening.
Is that Clearview television?
Clearview Television, yes.
Okay, I'm calling from Port Harcourt, Mr. Chidi.
All right, Mr. Chidi, can you please bring down the volume of your TV set? It appears it's howling back.
Okay, sorry for that.
Yeah.
I am clear now.
Yes, very clear. Thank you very much.
What I want to contribute is that Nigerians are suffering. There is hunger in the land. Notice moving in Nigeria. What is over the government? Whereas it was 7,000 naira back. Even the someone in Nigeria can hand on that. But today, what is happening to today? So, why is this person the government is supporting Nigeria now. Some of us the doctor and our first school fees. About the beginning of freedom. So I think we have to change and let man change the whole system of ruling. But we're supporting Nigeria. What of us are hot in Nigeria? So thanks for that.
Okay. Thank you. So, we have some jobs on our hand. I think so far you've gotten just one friend. And people are saying, they're insisting that there is hunger in the land.
You know, when you're having to have this kind of nationalistic conversations, a lot of people will, of course, naturally, everybody is entitled to his views and his opinions. Now, but the kind of politicking I think we are beginning to have.
No, please. It's actually the phone segment now. We've been able to get a lot from you. Please, can you turn down the volume of your set so we can enjoy this conversation? Hello? Yeah, where are you calling from? What's the name?
My name is Kazim.
Kazim, from where?
Kazim, I'm coming from Adokiti.
Okay, Mr. Kazim from Adroekiti. Please bring down the volume of your TV set so we can enjoy this conversation. All right. So, we have not even really done justice to this issue of corruption. Somebody, Elijah from, Chidi from Port Harcourt said so. about crossing to APC and you are saying, I don't want to mention names, but Umar, between you and I, we know some personalities that are moved.
I think we should mention names. We are of a country of loops. Okay. Now, if you have any allegation against an individual, being APC, PDP, AD, whatever political party, bring it forward. Bring it forward. If there has there been anyone who had come out to say that there are corruption allegations against a particular individual, and then the security agent and the anti-corruption agencies did not do anything about it, and then he kept quiet? Is there an end to how much a petition should strive? Or is there a duration to how much you should write a petition?
Okay, you know quite all right that we have a handful of
I wouldn't know that
of them.
because
Most
there are
people,
allegations of corruption against even you and I,
yeah.
Mr. Bello. But how do you substantiate such allegations?
In most cases, people who
In rare
are being
cases.
tried now
In rare
are
cases.
not in APC.
No, sir.
They are basically PDP members.
Yes, and there's a reason for that.
I am not saying that these PDP members that are being dealt with, they are not corrupt. I'm not saying that.
No, but
are we saying
Are
that
you
APC is a house
Now,
of
are we
holy
supposed,
people?
as sane people, are we supposed to have this conversation of people that were never in power, that should, because they are APC members and today they are in government, they should be tried for corruption they never committed? Or are you talking about the handful of people that were part of the PDP-led administration that joined APC and they were alleged to have committed corrupt practices, and then nobody had been able to substantiate a case against these guys, and they should just be tried or thrown in
All right.
prison?
Hello?
Hello,
Yeah, please, what's the name? You're welcome. Where are you calling from?
I'm coming from Adobe. My name is Kasim.
Oh, okay, Kazim is back again. All right.
Yeah.
Please go ahead.
I want to talk about our government.
Yeah.
The way people are hungry in this government, we are really disappointed because it's not what our president told us when we are campaigning. And what we are seeing now, people, we are not even happy. Are you hearing me?
Yes, I'm hearing you.
So, fact, people hungry. So, we need to send our government and tell the people the way the people, Boko Haram, other men, people like that are dying every day, which is very, very wrong. And this Nigeria, fact, we need the government that can eradicate everything. And then the poverty is very, very, very articulated, very, very worried in the country. And we need somebody that can be eradicated for us.
And you think Buhari has not done his best?
Hello?
You think Buhari has not done his best?
At all. Because it's not what he really told us before he get to the president.
All right, Kazim, please hold on. Kazim, please hold on. Kazim is saying that Oga made some promises which are not being fulfilled. Kazim, Umar is answering your question.
Mr. Kazim, good evening. Good evening, Mr. Kazim.
Hello?
Good evening, Mr. Kazim.
Hello?
Good evening, Mr. Kazim. Can you hear me?
Oh, okay. Mr. Kazim has gone. These people are saying Oga has not done well. All right, let's leave that one. Every day we hear that Boko Haram has been defeated. Umar, between you and I, has Boko Haram been defeated? How did the information minister put it? Strategically defeated or
The word is
technically defeated?
Decimated. That's the word. Decimated. It's a
Decimated.
military terminology. Now, how do you decimate someone? It means you have taken the person off guard. The person is neither here nor there. Unlike when we had Boko Haram taking on, they were taking on locations, they were taking on regions, they were putting
Hello?
flag.
Hello?
Good evening.
Good evening. What's the name? Where are you calling from?
This is Joe calling back from Taraba.
Oh, Joel from Taraba. All right. Do you have a question for Umar?
I have a question for Omar.
Okay.
Is Omar there?
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm here. I'm here.
he's listening to you.
I'm here.
Yes, Omar, good evening.
Good evening, my brother.
How are you?
Fine, thank you.
I don't know if you are aware of the removal of the slot to remove the Chief Justice of the Federation.
No, I'm not
And
aware he has
also,
been removed.
You're not aware that he was supposed to appear before the
I thought you said the
Court of Conduct
removal of his...
Tribunal.
I thought the question was that whether he was removed.
I'm talking about, he cannot go and stand trial when he's still on the seat. Is it possible?
Yes, it's very possible.
As a Supreme Court judge to stand trial and still occupying the bench.
All he needs to do is step aside, and then he appears before the tribunal until proven otherwise. Hello, Mr. Joel, are you there?
Yeah,
I'm not aware he has been pronounced guilty of the crimes he's alleged to have committed.
Okay. No, what I'm trying to point out here is that, are you also aware that the president said he is not aware that the CJN was taken to appear before the Court of Conduct Tribunal? Did the president say so?
Well, that we will discuss in the course of the conversation. That is a lengthy conversation. It's not. I can't give you a yes or no
because
answer.
What I'm trying to tell you, what I'm trying to point out is that our president is not in charge of this country. The other time,
I will not be in a position to agree with you on that.
Before, to go and correct sort out the issue of statement in Benue.
Yes.
The president said he was not aware. Then the other time, a wanted criminal that was wanted was reinstated and given double promotion. Our president said he was not aware. Everything is happening. Our president is not aware. I think you're going to tell us that the government is working and Nigeria is better than it was. It has never been this bad in this country.
Mr. Joel, are you making a statement or you're asking a question?
I'm asking a question.
Good. So have you...
All right, just let him answer this question because time is no longer a friend at this point. Joel, we really have to thank you. Umar will just answer your response now. Thank you.
Okay, but...
Now, Joel has raised a barrage of issues that he's always been quoting Mr. President of not being aware this had happened or that had happened. You know, to the best of my knowledge, I know that we have operational manuals in various sectors of our governance structure. We have security agencies, we have law combating agencies, we have anti-corruption agencies and all that. And to the best of my knowledge, I know of a precedent in the person of this president who does not interfere with the inner workings of any security agency or any other person that he had given a responsibility to carry on. Now, he believes in your ability to carry on those responsibilities. He believes in institutionalism. He believes in strengthening such institutions to perform optimally, to do their functions without interference. Now, if the Attorney General of the Federation, perhaps, I'm not saying this is the case. No, I'm not aware. I may not perhaps understand what may have led to, the arraignment of the CJN, or what the president is privy to, or whether the president was actually briefed or the president is not briefed. But I believe that for any president, anywhere it is in the world, will not have to be briefed if a law is alleged to have been committed. If a breach of law is
all right. Omar, let's thank you very much for finding time to come because we have actually eaten deep into the next program. My guest has been Jesse Umar Haya, political analyst, security consultant, and youth ambassador, Africa. For about an hour now, we have been discussing the person of President Muhammadu Buhari. But unfortunately, time has not actually been on our side for us to deal with the twin issue of herdsmen and Islamization of Nigeria. Because in some quarters, it is believed that the president is trying to Islamize Nigeria. On Clearview TV, we are not saying yes or no, but we always like to put this kind of issue in the people's court. So once again, Umar, thank you for coming.
Thank you.
We still need to bring you again to come and discuss your friend. Well, until tomorrow, at the same time, We want to really thank you for being there. But we need to tell you that once we have this 8 p.m., there is always a repeat broadcast the following morning also at 8 o'clock. I want to thank you all for being there. And on behalf of everyone in the studio, John Bello here saying bye for now.